Hello, welcome to the vlog where I'm going to kill all of my darlings. As a quick catch up, I am working on Project Death. This is supposed to be draft 5 and now it's turning into sort of like draft 5.1. This is due to my critique partner Jessica on our writing retreat, which as of this exact recording is in 2 weeks, the start of it. I also have the whole week to work on it. Okay, anyways, my whole goal for draft 5 was to fix the stressy, messy ending, which meant, you know, sort of fixing the stuff at the beginning so it would be less stressy, and to increase the word count. Okay, well, boy howdy did I do that. Because I realized that I was not hitting the catalyst until about like 17,000, 18,000 words. Same for like the break into 2 was also at like the 34,000 word mark. I was writing and I was at about, I want to say 48,000 words when I realized I'd not even hit the midpoint of the novel yet. I'd not even come all that close to the midpoint of the novel yet, which would be fine, except that I'm hoping to get Project Death traditionally published. I went to query it, and as it would be my first traditionally published novel, it should in theory fall within like more standard word count guidelines for a young adult standalone fantasy. And when I did the math, it was gonna be like 180,000 words, and that is not standard. So, draft 5.1, that's what we're on now. I am having to kill my darlings, kill some scenes that I just adore, because they're what's making it long. And I'm having to change some things up. It has been fun, it has been a journey. So it was at about 17,000 to 18,000. I got it down to about 12,000-ish, 13,000. What I need to do though is aim to get it at 10,000. I had an epiphany for how to do this. Oh, I got some rainbow going. Now it's putting that idea into effect and seeing if it will work as well as it does in my head. Because you know, sometimes when you like, it all makes sense in your head and then you put it on the page and you're like, oh no. Don't want that. Need it to be, oh yes, it worked. Not, oh no, I have failed again. So the goal for this vlog is to get that catalyst at about the 10,000 word mark, and also to fix my catalyst to break into 2 moment to be in the guidelines also. At least, if not write them all out, at least have the plan for them, reconfigure them. Let's do this, but first, breakfast. I think I need a very hearty breakfast because my brain's about to work on overdrive. All right, I've added 246 words of notes. So basically within chapter 4, I have about 1,300 words to play with to perfectly hit that 10,000 word mark. Frankly, if I'm just at the scene where Tuobi kills the character, which is the catalyst, if that starts at the 10,000 word mark and it takes like 900 words to kill him, I am fine with that, okay? Okay. So this is actually going to be an entirely new scene that I've never written before, but it should bridge the gap. And then in this scene, I'm basically merging the death that I've written and the stalking scene that I wrote the first time. Before, there was a time gap between the stalking where she hears the guy she's gonna kill trick someone to give him their name. So that's when she realizes, okay, I need to kill him. I'm having her realize that a little bit earlier. And we also get to see on page that he like kind of super sucks. So that's something I didn't have before that'll be awesome. So there's been good progress and good changes within this, within killing my darlings, as sad and disappointing as it has been ultimately. Only because I genuinely loved it. Like I thought it read super well. The beginning was what I was always like pretty sure about. Even as I added words in, I was like, this is good, this is intriguing. And I think it's still gonna be good. It might even be better now. Still intriguing. Ultimately, I guess I'll find out in like 3 weeks when Jess reads it. Can't think about that now. Just gotta work. Give me power.
Take it out. Take it out. Unless it's like not saying never say that ever. Like, obviously there's contexts where, like, maybe it's your best friend and you can talk about raising.
Beep, 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 beep. All right, I'm almost done with this scene, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish that off. I'm also almost done with my tea. All right, 444 words. How did that Buffy care get there? 444 words. I deleted all of the like notes to myself at the top, but I did leave one note to myself at the bottom, which is I need to see them sort of like setting up camp and for Twilby to see them going into the forest, which I kind of sort of have in the killing scene, but not the stalking scene. Anyway, so when I combine them, but okay, this is great. This is good. I also have, that I was not expecting, I needed the armor to sort of like interfere in a way with Tuobi again. And I had it just where he's like paying more attention to her and he's just seemingly around. But instead what I have him do is that as soon as she hears the Smith give a fake name or a different name, so we assume one of them or both of them are fake. As soon as she hears that, someone bumps into her, and then we have the armor sort of volunteering to help her up, and that's the end of the scene. So when we piece together everything that happens later, and you know, the reader along the way will know that there's something afoot. You just don't know what it is. So it worked out well. Oh God, now we just have to find scenes. Okay, this is perfect timing because Laura is currently live with about a 30-minute sprint, so I'm gonna get started on this real quick. Let's see what I can do. I love that as the end of the timer. Woo! Woo! So within that sprint, I got one part merged. Now I have another little part to merge and some to delete. So I have the death, we get the kill. So excited about that. We're gonna have to deal with the fallout in the next scene, and I'm gonna have to change how the armor knows what Tuovi's done, but like, I think it's gonna be good. Okay, I feel like it's just one sprint away, you know? Just one little sprint right here. (1,932 words. We're about to have the moment of truth. The suspense is killing me. Okay, we just passed 10,000 right now. Oh, all right. That's not bad. 11,082. And like I said, as long as I'd started the scene, and that last chapter is the 2,000 words. So you know what? You know what? I think this is close enough. I have done it. I have done it. I've done it. It is, a little after 9:30. I had my timer on and then like went past the timer because I hadn't finished, so. Oh, I just had the way that they'll start. I can start the next scene. That actually takes some of the stuff that I loved that I had to scrap. I'm having a big brain moment. Okay. It's gonna start with a scream. Love that. Always love that. Yay! Okay. I'm doing my reread and I'm almost done. Up until the chapter where I'd written the catalyst, my only complaint was that sometimes I use the same sort of sentence, like a chapter apart or like a scene apart. You know, I was like very insistent that Tuopi was becoming one of the migrants. Like that just like kept popping up and I was like, we know. So I'll have to decide which one ultimately stays, but it did give me a giggle. But otherwise, I thought it flowed pretty seamlessly. The one thing I'm changing now, leading up to killing the Smith, is that the armor is hanging around, but it's like almost too much, I think. I want it to be like slightly subtler. I had something almost every chapter now. So I changed something briefly, no big deal. And then I think I'm gonna change this last little bit where it's because I was having a hard time killing my darlings. I wanted to like recover part of this scene that I like so much, but actually upon reading it, we like don't need it. And because I'm trying to save words, it's like, well, if we don't need it. I'm going to fix that up real quick, but like, oh, I know what I can do. Haha, I got it. Also, I am using Beautifully Bookish Bethany's video as a reward because they also went to Nashville. I'm going to Nashville, so it's sort of like research for my research trip. Just a little bribe in the morning, we love to see it. Okay, now that I've had this epiphany, I need to work. Yay, okay. Now I'm curious, having deleted part of it, where I'm at now. Oh, okay. Let's see. Faster. 10,940. I do like it better though, so. Mutatis mundis. Used when comparing two or more cases or situations, making necessary alterations while not affecting the main. Wow, 10:59. I've learned a new word, new phrase. Wait. There's another. No, I know that one. Dun dun dun. Distribution. That's what we're about to wake up to. In the chapter. I mean, please do not mind the still very wet hair. So I need to both structure everything from the catalyst to the sort of break into two start a fun and games section, and also rewrite, basically scrap and write anew the scene where everyone finds out about the body. But I'm in a bit of a writing mood, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that first, and then we'll get to the organizing and shuffling and looking at the story from like afar. Yay! Only about 283 words. Debatably, this could be the catalyst. I think they kind of go together, so I moved it back into chapter 4 because this is when the armor, we think that the armorer knows that she's able to kill. He just obviously doesn't know quite how capable she is. It is early afternoon. I have my Thursday with me. Do not believe the date on that. And it is time to do some shuffling. Okay, as my note indicates, I am truly mining for gold on this one. So basically, this is the last scene where all the shit went down. We know the armorer knows something. This scene is like a little bit of a break, I would say, in the action where we're continuing to see the fallout from her killing the Smith and also continuing to see just how hard this journey is. And on top of that, the armorer is really sticking like right next to her now because he knows her secret. He can kind of get away with it. She can't just keep dodging him because she doesn't know if he's gonna tell anyone, like what's gonna go on. And then we have a little moment of levity when they make camp and she tells like a ghost story to the kids. And I think that just helps flesh out the world a little bit more while still being, I'm hoping, like valuable for later in the story. And then we have this chapter 8, which is about 2,000 words, but it just goes in sections where they finally get to the Capitol walls. So I still need that. This one is the one where I'm like, I have to kill my darlings. That's what I keep reminding myself of because I think almost all of this needs to go. I think almost all of it has to go because the only thing left to cover between that is for him to really offer her to be his apprentice. So he's just gonna kind of float the idea over to her. He's already conned her into agreeing to let him show the two of them around the Capitol because it's better to have a guide. There's clearly something more to it, we just don't know what yet. That's the only thing I need in this scene. And debatably, it definitely does not need 2,467 words, which is what it is right now. It's fine. There's always the question of how do you make a long journey feel long without making it like the entire book. So that's what I'm playing with now. Buffy's all the way over there. Do I believe in me? Yes. Okay, I've just been sitting here staring at my computer for like 10 minutes. There is no reason it should be hard to delete these words when actually I had just copied them from the other manuscript. So I have all of these words over here. Okay. Okay. It's because I feel like some of them would be good to have. Like there's this little thing that I wrote. It's like 3 paragraphs, where she's explaining just before she kills the Smith, where she's like, you know, every life I've taken has happened like differently, different methods, different reasons, whatever. She's like, number 6 was like this, number 11 was like this, and hopefully this one will be like this. So it's like a fun little thing. And it just like, is not fucking fitting. So, okay. Breathe. And, okay. Only have to do that for 2,252 more words. Okay, I think that walk ended up being exactly what I needed because basically I'm just gonna move one conversation, the one that I needed, up to the original scene and then just delete all this because I don't need it. I've made my peace with it. And I think it'll be better for it. So that just means I'm gonna have to rewrite some bits at one of the first scenes, but that's okay. That's what I've been doing, right? Okay. Time to delete, time to delete. It's fine, it's fine. You know what I think I'm gonna do. You know what I think I'm gonna do. I can do this, okay.
To create base tables.
So, what does this bring me to? 16,839. That's adding those 2 chapters after the catalyst. We have confirmed that the armor has offered the apprenticeship, but like 2 of these, you know, it's just on the table. We gotta have the first day at the Capitol. Yeah. I would love to get that down to like 15,000 so that I have like plenty of room to play with. I think the armor can kill the cousin by the 25,000 word mark. I don't think I can get it to 20,000, but I'm not that far off on those. I'm going to do my best. Chapter 2. It's been really interesting focusing on Project Death in this way because I haven't zeroed in on word count so much in a really long time. Outside of random one-off like aiming for a 10K day or something, which I haven't really done in a while, and NaNoWriMo, which I also don't always focus on the 50K. It's been all about the numbers, and it needs to be all about the numbers so that I'm hitting what I need to hit when I need to hit it. But yeah, it feels, it's just different. And I would teeter on to saying it's different bad, but different good is I'm actually really enjoying working exclusively on Project Death. It is fun to see faster progress in one project, even if it means I still have to do the same like start-stop throughout the day so that I can give my brain a rest on that individual project. So just stuff for me to consider to do occasionally more often, one project at a time. You gonna write for me? Okay, I had a really funny epiphany as I'm moving all this around. I'm sure it was back in my mind somewhere, but it was not in the last draft. He like quite obviously pegs Tuovi as being like someone from the capital that he knows. That's what he tells her in one of the scenes. He's like, have you ever been there? Like your parents? No, you remind me of them, when she asks why. He's so attentive to her because he knows about the house. He knows you can trick people into death. And she's just being so obvious that her stalking is like very apparent to someone who moves like this regularly in the capital. But in the capital you have to be more subtle, so that's kind of like a lesson he can teach her. Anyways, I think it'll be funny. All right, in about 5 minutes, my Patreon stream is about to start and I'm going to be working to get this done. I'm excited because I think I can get to the capital and that's gonna be really fun. I basically just have this chapter, this 3,665, and actually this much is definitely staying, 782 words. So about 2,500 to go through and rewrite, I would say. And then again, I fully deleted what was chapter 6 and chapter 7 and moved them around. And then chapter 8 is really just like the last drudgery, like they are exhausted. This is the end of the trek. And then seeing the capital walls. So we have this sort of high of like, we have made it before the next bit of insanity comes, while still sort of threading this like, Tuovi doesn't really know what to expect because there might be people like her in the capital, we don't know. So, leftover coffee, water, let's do this. All right, stream done. I'm at 4,103 words, but I have, you know, some room to go. I'm almost done with this chapter though. I added 743 words today. I'm feeling really good about it. The one thing I'm noticing is that as I condense, much like my editing process normally, I find I have to do it in waves. So like I go into it with an idea. I take what I had before and put it in and shuffle it. Then I edit through it once and I move on to the next chapter, and I'm trying to do this in like reasonable chunks. But then as I'm going back through it, like when I went back through from the very beginning, the first 11,000 up to the catalyst, I was still sort of editing as I read. I think that's what I'm gonna have to do with this one after I finish this chapter and the next one. Everything's sort of post-catalyst. Once I hit the capital, I'm gonna go back and read through and make sure that everything is necessary, because I have a concern that I'm still clutching onto some darlings that don't need to be clutched onto. But it's hard to see it when I'm in like the nitty gritty of that scene. I have to reread it. Hopefully soon. Actually, I told my patrons, I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna get to the capital tonight and reread it. I need a bit of an eye break, but I need this. I need to be done with this. This section, because so much fun is going to start happening at the capital. And I actually now have all the most important parts about him offering the apprenticeship and her being like having some trepidation because she's like, who is in the capital? I just got to get them there. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. But I can do this later. I have my timer pulled up. Sorry, the fan noise is going off. It is still just very hot here. The two little gaps right here are the last bits I need to fill in for this chapter. And this is just gonna be a fun bit where we get to compare the celebration of death after people have passed from the sticks, like the town she lived in, versus how they do their best to honor and celebrate while they're traveling. I think it's just like a kind of nice juxtaposition because we're also going to get that in the capital later. This was a section that was technically occurred before she killed the smith when I first came up with it. So there's been some deleting and some reshuffling, and that's where it's just taking some extra time. Could I have killed my darlings? Yes, and maybe ultimately that's where I'm gonna end up, is having to like fully kill it, but I think for right now there's like good bits here. So let's do some mining. Okay, I did finish this chapter. It actually ended up being 4,281 words, and I deleted the 2 that I'd like completely scrapped. Technically chapters 6 and 7. I've renamed the chapters. I'm now working on this scene. So in this one, they're basically scaling one of the last dunes just before they can see the Capitol walls. And this one, they finally make it to the Capitol. This one doesn't need to be long. It just needs to sort of bridge the gap a little bit. So I think the angle here is just to talk about how people start trading their own names. That's a concept to death. That's a concept that I had vaguely mentioned earlier on, but now we're going to basically, the numbers are going to tick up and we're going to realize that this is a very real thing that can be done within this world. Also impressed I was able to do all that, not this part, but the first chapter within the span of 1 sprint. Let's hope. Just 1 more sprint. All right, I have done it. Well, I've gotten my characters to the Capitol. I feel very solid about that. It only took 18,342 words. I've made it as short as I can with my own self, if that makes sense. I think there's a couple things where I need Jessica to read it and tell me, like, could this be cut? You know, that's what I need. It's like, is this lagging? That would be a great time to sort of cut some more words. So I think I just need feedback, and that gets us from the catalyst about halfway through the break into 2. So I'm still thinking that 25,000 is doable, and that's only 5,000 off, okay? Much better than the like 18,000. Oh, so bad. I have learned that killing your darlings is hard. I didn't think it was going to be that hard. I guess because while I've had to do it in terms of like outright taking away a character as much as I love them, which I actually had to do in Project Death, and then I put them back in a different capacity. I've killed a lot of darlings in this book, actually. I've never had to do it to this extent at the per scene level. It is very new for me. I think the biggest realization was that, as with all kinds of revision, it takes me 3 times going through it personally to feel solid about it. Once is identifying what can be cut. The second is actually cutting it and rewriting to like make up for that. And then the third is doing the reread and tinkering again. I need that tinkering again stage because sometimes I just don't nail it the first time, even though I know what I need to do. And sometimes I just want to keep stuff that I shouldn't. Please do comment down below and let me know something about revising that surprised you before you got to it. I don't know if that's necessarily on like a per story level. I think I learned something new each time I revise. One of the biggest lessons for me was in Project Purple when I just did not have the timeline sorted, and I've never made that same mistake again. And though I have a hunch that overwriting a little bit might be something I encounter again, at least I feel more solid in knowing what to expect now. Sorry, my partner's cooking in the background. Also, if you have any like writing craft books that specifically handle revision, or like a YouTube channel that talks about it that you really love, or just like an interview with an author that specifically about revision where you just really loved a snippet they said, please let me know. I will be on a road trip very soon and I have tons of time. But that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and obviously this saga will continue. Bye.